boy is amazing. He said he was God's godson. Then in the name of God, he touched the old man with the crippled leg. He mouthed the following words, Godfather, give me strength. Then he took away the old man's crutches. Come on, take 2 steps. And a miracle happened. The old man could really walk. The crowd went crazy. The boy arrogantly said, what's the use of a doctor? I can cure all diseases here. But as soon as the words left his mouth, he suddenly stiffened up, a sharp pain in his abdomen. The pain was so severe that he fell to his knees. He hurriedly said to his father, Hey, I need a doctor. That's a bit of a punch in the face. Coming to the hospital, Xiao Mei was examining the boy's body. The boy said to Xiao Mei, God told me that I would need a beautiful woman doctor. That's you. And you have a grudge against this little black doctor next to you. Mei and the boy were frozen, because they did have a problem. The father on the other side explained. When the boy was 10 years old, God suddenly gave him a dream. He said he was born with amazing bones. He insisted on taking him as his son. Since then, the boy could talk to God at any time. Black and the two listened with a puzzled face. Then Xiao Mei looked at the boy's test results, found that except for the symptoms of low sodium, everything else was normal. After Dr. House heard about the boy's case, directly said, speaking to God is a religious belief. To hear God speak is a mental illness. So he decided to go and see for himself. This man of God who was stealing his business, he just walked into the ward. The boy saw him on crutches. He immediately said, Can I help you with your leg? House said, No thanks. I believe in science and not in ghosts. Then he asked the boy, Then why are you in the hospital? Why don't you let God heal you? The boy replied with a straight face, God guided me here. House was speechless. The boy was very sick. At that moment, the boy's father came in with a bottle of water. Hauser notices that the bottle of water looks old. The father explains, the boy drinks a lot of water every day. That's why he had a special bottle prepared. At that moment, House had a diagnosis. The low sodium and abdominal pain were probably caused by the large amount of water he drank. Just bring up the sodium level. That's it? No way. House had just left. The boy suddenly had a hallucination. He was in a trance. He sang him all the way out of the ward. White rushed up to stop him. That's when he saw a woman with terminal cancer.
I don't want you to be afraid. He sent me here to heal you.
He touched the woman's face with his hand. The woman was stunned, but then, a miracle happened. The boy had a hallucination, said he was possessed by God. He could cure all diseases. Then he approached a woman who was terminally ill. He touched the woman's face with his hand, and he was saying the same thing. Believe in God. Everything is possible. 2 days later, a miracle did happen. The doctor found that the woman's tumor had shrunk. The crowd was shocked, but House didn't believe it had anything to do with the boy. He had to use science to explain it all. The first step was to find out why the boy was hallucinating. The assistants did an MRI on the boy. They found he had tuberous sclerosis. This would explain why the boy was hallucinating. That God had possessed him. They needed to operate on the boy to remove the nodules. Otherwise, it could be life-threatening. But the boy didn't agree to the surgery. He thinks it wasn't a hallucination. It was God's presence, and that the nodule was a God-given talking device. If it was removed, he wouldn't be able to talk to God. House was speechless. Luckily, Dr. Wilson was a good negotiator. He used the God theory to convince the boy. He finally agreed to the surgery. But the next day, there was another problem. The terminally ill woman whose forehead the boy had touched found the boy. He was so grateful to him. He became his faithful follower. This made the boy even more sure that he was possessed by God. So he decisively refused the operation. House was furious. He had to find out the real reason why the woman was getting better. He asked his assistants to study the woman's file carefully. He even went to the woman's house secretly to see if there were any clues. But after half a day of research, they were still clueless. Just then, the boy suddenly appeared a new symptom. This boy had a fever of 40 degrees, but he had to be discharged from the hospital because he said that God had called him. He told him not to use human medicine. God would heal him. The doctors thought he must be burning up. They told the boy's father to persuade him to accept treatment. But what the father said shocked the doctors even more.
I'm sorry. You don't even know what's wrong. God knows things. I would rather leave it in his hands than yours.
But Hauser was so stubborn, he couldn't just give up. He had to get to the bottom of everything. He would use science to convince the boy. In theory, the boy's nodular cerebral sclerosis wouldn't cause a sudden fever. He must have something else. What could it be? That's when Wilson said it could be some kind of virus. That gave House a flash of insight. He immediately went to the hospital room. He came up to the boy and stripped him of his clothes. The boy was so scared that he fought back. House said, Just do it. This is my mission from God. It turns out that House suspected that. The boy had herpes virus encephalitis. That explains why the boy's tumor became smaller after he touched the woman. After the boy touched the woman's tumor became smaller because the herpes virus can attack cancer cells. After touching his own herpes, the boy's hand touched the lips of the terminally ill woman, and then touched the lips of a terminally ill woman. So the herpes was transmitted to the woman. That's why her tumor became smaller. But this is only temporary. The woman's condition will continue to deteriorate. The herpes virus is transmitted in only one way.
Either that or cold sores. Herpes got
As God's chosen one, he had to keep himself pure. But apparently, the boy was not keeping his virginity. That's why he drinks a lot of water every day, thinking it would cleanse his body. But the father was convinced of his son's innocence. He said to the boy, Son, take it off and show them. Prove to them that we are the most faithful believers. The boy had no choice. He had to take off his pants. And sure enough, he found a herpes. Hauser said to relax. Take a couple of acyclovir, and you'll be fine. Only you won't be a son of God anymore. The boy buried his head in his pillow in shame. The Bible next to him. How ironic it seemed at the moment. So, go to the doctor if you are sick. Don't mess around.